Hey, what's the deal, everybody? It's your boy Talent. Happy Monday, people. Happy Motivation Monday. Hopefully, you are already motivated. You ain't waiting for me to get motivated. But if you are, so what? That's what I'm here to do, make it happen for you and get everybody on the same page because I think that we're switching gears now. Here it is, the month of December. We got the holidays coming up. We got the pandemic at an all-time high. We got all this stuff going on. And I think now, just like we did in the beginning, we need Motivation Monday more than ever. So I'm here to do that for you. Hopefully you had a good weekend. When I asked you how was your weekend, you know, that's rhetorical for me, but it's real mentally and emotional for you to do an assessment and see exactly, you know, how was your weekend? Who knows? All right. That's up for you and yours. To get the show started, I can't do it without one of the premier voices in the land, the man who keeps his ear to the streets, bootstrapped up, tell it like it is, straight no chaser, my partner in crime, my co-host, Amir Silly. Let's bring on in the man of the hour. There you go, the man of the hour. What's good, son? Uh-oh. Amir, you okay?
I'm here, but for some reason I'm coming.
I hear you now. Yeah.
It's broken up on my end. I don't know what's going on. My joint is acting real sus.
You got your Wi-Fi on?
No, I don't have my Wi-Fi on because the Wi-Fi be acting crazy, so I didn't put the Wi-Fi on. Usually I just do it on the regular cell joint, but let me see if I put the
it's probably just sometimes the cellular service getting a bad area, you know, and it'll vary on your ass. You know what I'm saying? It definitely will vary. Now, what I don't see.
Can you hear me?
I hear you perfect.
Okay. Well, maybe today the Wi-Fi got to be on.
But let me say this to my man, Prophet,
special. What's going on?
Super producer. I'm on Pete's page trying to share this joint, but Pete, I don't see it up there, bro. So I don't know if you streamed it yet or it streams after or whatever the case may be. All right. So, first of all, how was your weekend, bro?
Weekend was good. The weekend was good, man. Can't complain. The only, drawback was yesterday watching the Jets give away that game late. That upset me for a little bit, but I couldn't figure that one out. I was just in awe. I was like, football 101. We never blitz, and especially when you got the game won, you just keep the ball in front of you, run out the clock, and that's that. And when we didn't do that, I was like,
it's funny you say that because why did dude get fired right after that? They fired the defensive coordinator right for that reason.
Yeah.
The players were like, no, defensive coordinator, why did we blitz at that time? Like, who does that? Like, the game, we basically got this joint under wraps.
It was unbelievable. That was absolutely unbelievable. Like, I truly couldn't believe that moment. I was like, and I'm watching the game. I was happy. I was like, yes, Jets going to get off the snobs. At least we'll have one game, as a win under our belt. It'll be a good look, for the franchise, just in terms of a, momentum builder. As we talk about Motivational Monday, you want to have that motivation. And
I tell you one thing, Amir, you know what the hardest thing to do is? Be motivated and a Jet fan at the same time.
Yes. Man, listen, I the only saving grace was, then obviously the Giants won, which I didn't give them a chance to win that game. And I'm a Jets and Giants, fanatic. I'm a New York, guy. So I didn't give our Giants a chance to win that game at all. And so then when they pulled that out, I was like, well, you know what? We'll take one of the wins this weekend. We gotta get some kind of balance.
You know what's funny is I picked the Giants to win that game for whatever reason because they have been playing better and better over the last few weeks. So I'm like, they're gonna snatch a win. So I put my money on the Giants and won that one. And then I put my money on the Jets and they covered. They lost the game, but they covered. So I won on both teams. So if you bet with the points and all that stuff there, both these teams, Giants obviously won, so they covered. But then the Jets lost at that last minute. They end up still covering. So it was all good. either way around. So, like I said, it's hard to be motivated and a Jet fan. This is Motivation Mondays, and I jumped right off off the train onto the show, and what was on my mind and my train ride was the resurgence of the pandemic. Right, it was just when we kind of got some sort of normal stance. It came back hard because I'm watching everything play itself out slowly but surely. And if I had to put money on it, I think we are going to be heading towards another, shutdown. So I'm saying to myself, knowing that or feeling that in my gut, it's like, okay, now our job the ante has just been upped because we've been in a certain groove, if you will, trying to keep people motivated, and people can kind of set their clock to it and set their mind right to it every Monday. And then boom, here we go back to March 15th or whatever. So now we're in that March mode again. So the pandemic's coming around, and it's slowly but surely, because look at LA, they total shutdown, not like a restaurant curfew at 10 o'clock, total shutdown. So that's kind of the climate engaged in a direction that we look like we're going. You know what I mean? You went and back to Vegas, correct? Amir, you're back in Vegas, right?
Yeah.
So you're on that side. What's the climate like?
It's interesting. Like you said, we going back to what potentially looks like it's going to be a shutdown again, i.e., what happened to us.
Oh, we lost him. We lost our co-host Amir Silly. All right, we'll get him back in a minute. I asked him that question because I know recently, he's bi-coastal, and they got the crib in Vegas and in Brooklyn. And I know recently, because Friday was a travel day for him, and he went back out west. And West seems to have this climate that's kind of ahead of everybody else as far as how far they're going with it. So that's what the question imposed. Welcome back, brother. So I was trying to get a sense of the climate out there, since you've been back, because you've been back, 2-3 days now?
I don't know what's going on today. Today, the Wi-Fi or my signal just is giving me all kind of issues. Close to this pandemic, and like you said, it being Motivational Monday, so I'm just going to stay focused and do what we do. But speaking to what you said a little while ago about heading back to where we were at the beginning of this year back in March, I think for each and every one of us, having gone through that part of the process, this next wave should hopefully be somewhat easier in the sense of knowing what things to do to not only keep yourself motivated, but to help motivate others. A big part of us getting through this whole situation is not only what we're doing for ourselves, but also hopefully what we're doing to help others get through this. Because the more positive energy we have going into this new wave, with everybody kind of moving in the same direction and at least utilizing a more positive approach, hopefully the sooner we can get through it, and the better we'll come out on the other side of it.
Right.
Just depending on what kind of work we put in.
Oh no, I mean I totally agree with that. Just watching this thing play out, I'm like, okay, I'm just following the trend of where we're gonna go. So here's the direction we're gonna go in today's show. We have 3 special guests scheduled to be on today, ladies and gentlemen. One being working with the voting process. She did it with the presidential election in a key state where they flipped Georgia from Republican to Democratic to win. Was a huge part of Joe Biden and getting Trump out of office. They got to do it again. And just a few weeks, January 5th, is that runoff for those 2 Senate seats in Georgia that they need to win to control the Senate. If they don't win them, then the Senate remains Republican, which is a problem for getting things done in a formal fashion and getting done for our people. So I want to talk to her about that. Then we got another guest coming in, one of my mentors growing up, Lowe's Moore, ex-NBA star, slash, a church pastor. This brother has been a mentor to me and every kid I grew up with in Mount Vernon. at the Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon. He does the gala every year. Does a ton of stuff. And this brother here from Denzel Washington, JB Smooth to myself, and any and everybody that's come out of Mount Vernon has had to, have homage paid to them and pay homage back to the Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon. So that's another one of our guests will be here. We're going to talk about a show that he's been doing, a podcast, and what he got going on. And also, last but not least, we have a guest coming in here to do it up. This is my main man. Anybody who loves anything comedy knows the Humor Mill. Started off the Humor Mill magazine. Now he has Humor Mill TV. He has a Humor Mill app. He has shows on it and everything. One in which me and a good friend of mine, comedian Fig, you see him on the show. We co-host with him on a sports show called The Box Seats. We'll talk to Frank Holder and get to the bottom of everything he's got going on and how that's working out for him as well. Okay, so it's going to be a power pack show. A lot going on, people. Want everybody to buckle up. My man Amir, as you can see, he's having a few technical difficulties. He'll be popping in and out as well as the show goes on. So with all that being said and done, we're ready to have some fun. All right, so let's get back to the point. The point being, the world has seemed to be going in reverse, as if 2020 wasn't enough, as if all the bad things in 2020 wasn't enough to wake us up, to change our lives forever, to make us stronger, to put some people out of business, to put some people further in debt. If you wasn't in debt, put you in debt, to lose some loved ones, to not be around and be there to back up the loss of the loved ones. I mean, there was a time where, people were dying and they couldn't see their loved ones. How do you stay motivated those times? It's tough, and now the medical profession, as I was informed yesterday, is now they're back to limiting visiting people at the hospitals, because the hospitals are now being overrun again and running out of beds and running out of space. So the first thing that they're doing is visiting. Like, all the visiting normal hours are going. Unless you got somebody, for lack of a better phrase, on their deathbed or on the way out, you're not going to be able to visit in most hospitals. That's just where we are right now. So again, we take a huge step back to where we were before, as the pandemic started and we got that first lockdown in March. We're right back there, Amir. So I'm not scaring. I don't want to scare people. I want to point it out because I want people to get a new plan together, or put the plan you have on steroids, if you will, to say, you know what, just in case, what do I need to do to keep my groove going, whatever that thing is. Some of you guys are blessed, to have these jobs where you're still working from home, virtual. You know what I mean? And hey, God bless you for that. There's nothing wrong with that. But then some people don't. Some people are going to be back in the house, stuck without employment, stuck without rent. We're still waiting on the stimulus.
Yes.
Yes. We're still waiting on the stimulus. So that's a fight. How do you stay motivated when it's going backwards?
Well, I think, one of the, true caveats to this, whole situation, I use that word a lot, is you have to take a good hard look at the things that you've been using up to this point that have allowed you to stay motivated. And it could be, it could be anything. It could be going down memory lane for some of us, in terms of looking back over moments in your life where you've overcome things to get you, to your present circumstance. Could be investing in your children or investing in your significant other, in the sense of being present in the moment, taking the time to, really enjoy, this time together. It could be music. I'm a big music guy. Me and you're big music people. So I know for me, whenever I find myself, maybe not in the energy that I'd like to be in, I, look on Instagram or turn to, different musical outlets to hear music, to put my mind and my spirit in the energy that I need to be in, so that I can now move forward the way that I know I need to. And I just, suggest that people find, what that thing is for them. It could be comedy. It could be, so many other things. It could be cooking. But whatever it is, now is the time to go to your go-to thing in order to get yourself over that hump. Because this second version of this, like I said, should not necessarily be easier, but it should come to you differently because of the fact that you already got through the first version of it. So now you're supposed to be coming back to this version of it with a new version of you to be able to deal with the new version of this. And that's imperative for all of us. We all have to, keep evolving in ways that allow us to be able to deal with whatever new challenges, we're going to find ourselves having to run up against. Everything from, what you just mentioned about people being unemployed.
Right.
There are numerous ways to, now find ways that you could probably make money from home. But one, you have to be open to those situations. Then two, you have to do your due diligence and know that everything isn't a scam. Everybody's not out to get you. Some people really do have your best interest at heart and do have, a game plan or a situation that you could possibly follow that'll allow you to be in the best position possible for yourself. So
and it's funny you say that because you mentioned music and you said, finding that outlet, you'll go on the gram and look for things. First of all, thank you for sharing too, because you'll find good mixes and people doing their thing and you'll be like, boop, share it to me and I'll be somewhere random and open it up and they be jamming. So I appreciate that. What motivated me this weekend, let me tell you something. And I would have never thought that this would have motivated me. So here I am, give you a little backstory. We had a show on the books last month to do up in Rochester, in the ballroom in the hotel. And in the midst of putting the show up, that's when we got smacked with New York State rule where you couldn't have more than 50 people. So we got this ballroom where we thought we were going to get a couple hundred people in and do a nice back show, whatever. Had to go down to 50 people. It was like, okay, you know what? We can still make that work. And then we got smacked a couple of weeks, actually a week before, where they made it go down to 25 people. So it was so last minute when that came out. I said, you know what? Let's postpone it a couple of weeks because we had another date coming up, which was Saturday. I said, let's postpone that show. Let's do it that Saturday because maybe things have changed. Things didn't change. Still was 25 people. So I'm kind of like, we got to do it, because we're scheduled to do it. My company stands by its brand. It stands by its promise of what we're going to do. So I said, screw that. We're going in there. We're going to do it. We go in there now to make it feasible. We had to break it in 3 sets. We had to do a 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and a 10 o'clock, basically give them an hour and a half, hour, 40-minute show. So we're going to do it. So in my mind, I'm like, I'm in a zone mentally of, let me just get this thing done. What I didn't know what was going to happen was those 25 people per show were so amazed and happy to be out at a live show. Like to do something other than be locked in the house and, see comedy on TV. It's not the same. And if you ever been to a live comedy show, it's not the same. So, you would prefer a live over televised. So talking to those people, interacting, doing my thing, making them laugh, and getting the feedback 3 times in a row that day, 6 o'clock show, 8 o'clock show, 10 o'clock show. That, I'm not gonna lie, that shit motivated the shit out of me. Like, because I didn't go into it with that energy and that mentality. I went into it like, let's just get it done. It's a job. That day, it was a job in my mind. But by the time I hit the stage and talking to the people coming in, going out after the show, each time, 3 times that night, it changed how I felt about it. And I felt super motivated because, you got to understand something. When everything is working against you and what you're trying to do, and you still do it, and the people, because that's who we work for at the end of the day, and the people come to you and give you those accolades upon accolades of like, it's almost like, yo, you saved my year, you saved my month, you saved my my stability, my mentality, because I was going crazy this and this and that, and that right there alone, puts you in a place that I'm not gonna lie, it made me so motivated after Saturday, and I use that, I catapult that going forward, for something else, for anything else that I'm doing. Like that was the most motivating thing in months. And don't get me wrong, we've been to places and did a little thing here and a little thing there, but it was being in the grasp of patrons who were so appreciative, and they understood. The same way that I look at them and understand that, I'll look at them and be like, yo, I appreciate y'all coming out. I felt like it was reversed for me. You know what I mean? Like you sit there like, thank y'all for coming out. We say it all the time.
But with what you guys, like you said, bringing comedy, bringing any kind of content to the forefront, during this pandemic, has been something that has allowed so many people to be in a space and be in a position to motivate themselves in a real sense, because now they're finding other hidden talents that they have. They're finding other ways to be able to express themselves. And because of that, that's opening doors that they may or may not have, seen viable for themselves in the past. But now that, they see, oh my goodness, art, which is something that, I kind of did on the side, or cooking or whatever, your talents are that you kind of do on the side that you don't, really speak to the public at large about, nor do you, necessarily share with, your friends and your associates. Now people are finding that they're able to bring those things to the forefront, and the world is ready to listen. The world is ready to pay attention. And I think that, to your point about being able to make that connection, with the crowd, that's something that we're now finding is so much more a part of our everyday lives. We're connecting in ways that, you wouldn't have thought to connect with people before. Yes, people know who you are or have seen you, having gone to venues with you and things like that, but they didn't know you on a personal level. But now, because of social media and because of platforms that allow so many of us to get on and express our opinions and express, how we feel or what we think of certain situations, it now has put us in a position where now more people are starting to go, oh my goodness, okay, I didn't really know that, that's how you felt, or that's what you thought, or, that we think along those same lines. And I think in a real sense, it's also bringing us a bit closer together, because now you're finding synergy with energy that is, all going, vibrating at the same level, which is also imperative during this time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it makes all the sense in the world. So speaking of that, on that note of positivity, let's keep it positive, man. I'm going to bring in one of my mentors, like I mentioned earlier in the show. He would be here. He's in the studio today, ladies and gentlemen. Please bring in and welcome my man, the all-star in more ways than one, Mr. Lowe's Moore, is on Motivation Mondays with us. Lowe's!
What's up, T? How you doing, man?
What's good, my brother? You are all-around all-star, man. You're an all-star in the NBA. You're an all-star in life. You're an all-star in mentorship. You're an all-star with the church. You're an all-star of the Girls and Boys Club. I mean, bruh, can you just take a star off for a minute? Is there any star lunch breaks?
Well, no. As you know, the Boys and Girls Club taught us to get everything out of us.
This is true.
When we went to the club, it wasn't just, you couldn't just say, oh, I'm going to go to the game room and I'm only going to play that game. No, you're going to play all the games. You're going to learn how to play those games. You go in the gym, oh, I don't want to play basketball. No, you're going to do a flip. You're going to get on that trampoline. You're going to do boxing. So, yeah, we were a jack of all trades and pretty good at most of them.
This is true. Well, first of all, my brother, it's great to see you. You look wonderful. You look real tranquil. Welcome to Motivation Mondays. That's my man, Amir Silly. That's my co-host. He's been rocking with me all year through the pandemic. We try to keep people motivated on this show. We try to hit it from every angle. We're going to be talking about the runoff later in the show in Georgia. I got a young lady that's working with Stacey Abrams and them down there in Georgia. I got my man from the Human Mill coming in, Frank Holder. But right now is about Lowe's More, because you and I, this coming Sunday, 6 days, we have a big sit down on your podcast and making it happen. Tell the people about Lowe's More's podcast, the name of it, when it comes on, and everything.
Yeah. Well, back in 2019, I think everybody, scripturally, it says a person without a vision will perish. Right. And I started to think about, like, what would life be without the Boys and Girls Club? Like I had to think about what life would be without playing basketball.
Right.
And sometimes we get stuck, right? And we don't know what to do when it finally ends. So in 2019, September 2019, I started putting a list together about things I would like to do if I wasn't at the Boys and Girls Club. And so I talked about public speaking professionally, blogs, website. I wrote my first book, and
nice.
So I started thinking about these different things. Didn't know that at the end of 2019, I was going to make a decision, to step away from the Boys and Girls Club. And so stepping away, I'm starting to plan, but I didn't step away until March of 2020. Now I can't get out and speak, right? But at the bottom of my list was a podcast. Didn't think I was going to do it, but it was the only thing I could do. So inside my book, I had written some things. Denzel and Pauletta Washington forward my book, right? And Denzel said that I was like a pebble that was thrown in a pond. We don't know what the ripple effect is going to be. And that's all of our lives, whether it be positive or negative. We're all pebbles thrown in a pond, and we're going to give a ripple effect, right? So he said that about my life. And then his wife, as she was reading, the manuscript, she said that, man, this is like a blueprint, right? And all entertainers and athletes and many people should read this. And so that's how I came up with the title of the show, The Blueprint, right? And people should have a vision. People should have a plan. You can't build anything without a blueprint.
This is correct. This is true.
So on the show, we deal with what I call 7 spheres of influence, right? Dealing with religion, dealing with family, education, dealing with politics, media, sports, arts, and entertainment, and business and finances. 7 mountains, 7 mind molders, and each one of us have a gift to either function in one or 2 or more of those things. For me, it happened to be sports, right? And so I was in that sphere of influence, and I was there to impact it positively, to have an impact on it. And so I believe that God gives everybody gifts and talent, and they go into that sphere of influence and positively impact it. When you talk about, everybody say, oh, you're a comedian, or they'll tell LeBron James, man, just dribble and shut up, right? Mm-hmm. Well, you use your talents and your gifts to get in that sphere of influence where that gift belongs, because it has purpose in there. But it also gives you an opportunity to speak outside that into other spheres of influence.
That's true.
It allows you, when I wasn't just playing basketball, I was a family guy, right? I mean, I had to be involved in media. I had to understand business and finance. So, I had a gift to play basketball, but I had to be skilled in other areas as well. So when we bring people on the show, we want to know about the importance of family. How did they grow up? Because, during a pandemic, right? And it was apropos for me during the pandemic, because I wanted, like you are, trying to be encouraging, trying to be motivating, right? We can sit there and talk about the politics. We could talk about the social issues, but somewhere along the line, somebody's got to give some encouragement, some motivation. And so, the guests have come on. You'll be the 28th show.
Damn.
And I've had from, my family, taking them through my experiences in my family. And I jumped into Chris Broussard, on Fox Sports, and, then Denzel, JB. I just started, Gerald Hoover. You got to get Mount Vernon in there, the mayor.
Yeah.
I just started and you were supposed to be on earlier because, I had Charlie Ward, Allen Houston. And just talking about life, man, and how to be positive and how to have faith in this time.
No, I totally get it. I understand. I say certain people, man, in Mount Vernon, I don't care what happens what the news clippings read or whatever. Like Mount Vernon is a very special place that we had these things growing up that was it's funny because you just looked at them as fun or somewhere to be. You didn't even know till later. That's the great thing about mentorship. You don't even know like what we talk about, the ripple effect. You don't even know the ripple effect till later. So that's perfect with me as a kid coming up in the club, and Coleman and all you guys there working, and Jones. And it's like we played ball. Like I said, you got us all academically involved, and at the same time was concerned with what was going on in the school. What was up with your grades too? Because it was like, how they do the college players and the high school players. You check your grades, you sit on the bench, and it was like the club was separate from the school, but it felt like you was at a university because you go to the club and let me see a report card. The report cards came out. Oh, word, you failing? You got a D? You on the bench this game. You're like, damn, how is this connected, right? But that is mentorship. And you don't realize the impact till later down the line. Like, I get on here, and every Monday we've been for months, we've been motivating every single Monday with different angles of this thing, trying to keep people. I always say I'm talking people off the ledge. I say it's 3 types of people during this pandemic. Somebody's right on the ledge right now, that you're going to talk them off immediately. Somebody is a step away from the ledge. It may be a check, an argument, you know what I mean, a situation. And then there's that person that think they can never be at the ledge and find themselves eventually at the ledge. So we're working on all these people to constantly stay consistent with the motivation thing. And I was just told the story before I introduced you this weekend in Rochester in this ballroom with these little 20, 25 people shows that they motivated me. I was there, to fulfill an obligation, and I had that attitude in my brain. I'm not gonna lie, going in, I was like, man, let me just get this thing done, get back home, blah, blah, blah. But by the time I did what I had to do, talk to people on the way in, on the way out, and hear their passion of how something to me it was so minute, was so extravagant to them, and like gave them that huge breath of fresh air to go forward to finish out, their year on a motivated level. That motivated me. I came home so motivated, bro. I couldn't wait to do the show. I hit you. I was on a train like, well, can you come on today? Because, let's talk about it. You know what I mean? I was just so motivated by it. And we need that.
Yeah, you do. And I just sitting at home. I mean, try not to go out. You can't visit family. And, it's motivating. We have about 25, 30 family members every Saturday in the family night Zoom game night. We've been doing this throughout the whole pandemic. My mother learned how to get on. She on an iPad. She's on there. On there. My brother's in North Carolina. Everybody's on there. And it's just awesome, man. And it was powerful Saturday for me because Dean Bowman, I don't know if you remember Dean.
I remember Dean.
But Dean had a Christmas concert. He's all the way in another country.
Wow.
And he did it live on Facebook. He sung all the, he had a whole play thing on Christmas songs. And then later on that night, Mike Phillips had a concert at the Winery in Atlanta, from 8 to like 10. And then right after him, Leon came on in the Christmas special on the Hallmark channel. I mean, like, I was watching Mount Vernon all day,
Yes.
It was just lovely, man, to be motivated by people, man.
No, that is crazy right there. I mean, and I just wanted to give you your, like we say nowadays, we're giving out flowers while we're still here. We're not waiting till after the fact and say, oh man, Lowe's. No, Lowe's is, Lowe's more is here. You've impacted, not just us, man. It goes on and it don't stop. You know what I mean? If I had $5 for every time randomly your name comes up, whether it's me and AD at a comedy club or me and JB, like JB taps into my live. JB's like a Instagram live stalker, him and the wife.
Yeah.
Like I'll be in here jamming, and the time between the time difference and the weather difference, they come on live. I'm in the house, it's cold. They come on, they're by the pool, and they get the sound, the volume up, and they're like, yo, you playing the jams, play this, play that. And I'm like, dude, y'all interrupt what's going on over here. But they're just happy and just reaching out because of the camaraderie from Mount Vernon. So listen, I look forward to us talking and chopping it up, talking about family and all those 7 things that's very important that we need to deal with this Sunday, brother. Thank you for having me on this show.
Oh yeah.
Again, like I said, I want to stream it. I want to share it on 8 of my Facebook pages so that everybody can get it, and more importantly, keep watching the motivation that you're doing as well.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot.
You know what I mean? So
Thank
I look forward to about. I know this was last minute, but I want to have you back in a couple of weeks. You know what I mean? And give you even more direction. We'll talk about some deeper stuff, man, and keep these people motivated.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you too. Thank you.
My Mount Vernon brother, my mentorship right there, the one and only all-star jack of all trades, Lowe's Moore. Salute you, King. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you, brother. I'll be with Lowe's Moore this Sunday, man. It's going down on his podcast, man. It's going to be crazy. The blueprint, and you heard the man. You know, you like a pebble or a rock thrown in a pond, and the ripple effect. You know, touching people's lives forever and a day. You don't know how far that goes, how long that lasts, or whatever the case may be. Now, I always say, like, I splatter things on the wall for people to do their own due diligence to go find out whatever it is they may need to find out. There's a lot more to Lowe's Moore. You know, I just tipped the iceberg, and it was more because of our connection. I know it was kind of minute of all the things he did. I try to encapsulate it because it's only an hour show, and it would take an hour to list everything Lowe's did from his basketball days in high school, going to college, going to playing ball in the NBA, being a mentor to other people. How many years he's been working with the Mount Vernon Boys and Girls Club. When he said Denzel and Paulette, he wasn't just doing it to drop names. You know, this was official tissue stuff that he's doing. You know, and that's just part of our clique. Our clique. We've always connected with the people that we know that's invested in motivating each other. This is a small town, people. Mount Vernon is 4 square miles. 4 square miles. You know what I mean? And what I want my people to always understand and think, if we can put out all the stuff that we did in the years that we've done it, we go back, like, I'll just give you some bullet points, but if we can do what we did out of this small 4 square miles, everyone else can do anything they set their minds to. If you take this little town's history, really take this town's history, this is motivation in itself of the things that you can get done and do. You know what I mean? You know, we're not the size of a Brooklyn, Queens, by no means. We're 4 square miles. And you talk about sports, we've had people in sports who have a championship ring in every sport. You talk about music, we cover everything from hip hop to jazz to rock and roll. You know, you talk about acting, like he just mentioned, Leon was on the Hallmark Channel. You know, I've done movies, Leon's done movies, we have filmmakers to come out of here. I'm talking to Amir about how much impact a small town like Mount Vernon, you know, Mount Vernon alone can be your pinnacle of motivation. When you look at a town so small and so much that has flourished from this town.
Yes.
If that ain't motivating, bro, I don't know what is.
You know, it's so funny that you even said that, because I think that's something else that so many of us can look to too. You know, we tend to, on a larger scale, always look for monumentous things as opposed to looking for small things that could be motivational. You just mentioned Mount Vernon, but some of us need to look, you know, within our own families, look within our own circles. If you got somebody who in your circle is winning at whatever, doesn't make a difference what it is, you should tap into that. You should allow that to be some motivating force for you to go, if they can do it, there's a strong possibility that I could do it. Your belief system obviously has to raise to the same level that theirs did in order for you to achieve that goal finally. But the point is, you got to start taking and doing the mental preparation, and you also have to start doing the little preparation that it takes in order to get to that level. And that starts with the smaller things that then eventually turn into bigger things.
Well, I'm gonna challenge you and me today, right? This is a 60 seconds of honesty challenge, and we'll give us a minute because I'll get other guests in the studio, and then we're gonna come back. You just said something that's very interesting. I want you to rack your brain, pick out 3 of your family members or friends that you can use as motivation. I'm gonna find 3 in my brain that I can use as motivation that I probably did, not probably, but did. And then that's how we're gonna close out today's show. But in the meantime, it's time to bring in our third guest. Well, our third guest, but the first one, I don't know what the hell happened to Tamika. Let me see. Oh, she's in there now. Okay. So let me do this. Let me go. Let's bring in Tamika first. And Frank, I know you're in the studio. Hang tight for 5 or 6 more minutes. I want to get this thing because I'm hyped on this election thing. So, ladies and gentlemen, comedian Tamika James, come on in here. Bring her in here. Tamika
What's
James.
going on, y'all?
You know you
Every
in
time
my
I move
mind.
here, I swear it's always something going on. Hold on. Okay, I know last time y'all told me to turn it sideways, and that's not working this time. So I'm just gonna hold it this way.
You just gotta put your rotation on and it'll flip. But
I
you
hate
can't
the rotation on my phone.
Oh, okay. Don't even worry about it. You know, I had cricket one time too. There you go. So I apologize for the last minute, right? But I was just telling Lowe's more, my last guest. I was like, yo, on my train ride back, I had this epiphany, and there were certain people that pinged on. You was on my mind last night. I'm watching this debate, which, you know, it's ironic. This is how you know how important this runoff election is in Georgia. I never watched debates like for other states. This is the first time I've watched another state's debate. Like other than presidential or local mayors and governor, I just never did. And I'm thinking, and I forgot about it, and I got lucky and caught it at the beginning. So I caught the whole debate. You came to my mind. First of all, old girl, she's assed out. Pardon my French, but she fucked up. Did you see it, Amir?
No.
Amir,
I didn't see it either. I'm gonna tell you, I was working. I missed it.
Guys,
what's crazy?
You got to go back and find. This is must-see TV because here's the thing: you have a moderator and you have 2 people on the side asking questions, right? And you have them too. And I forget her name. The one queen, the one young lady, she's black, and the other 2 are white. The moderator and the other guy's white. And it wasn't even. I don't even think they was trying to set her up. First of all, she was very robotic. You know it's bad, right? When you're a Republican and Fox News cracks jokes on you. Fox News did a thing today because she, you know, it was like they gave her these bullet points. You know she can't really speak. So they gave her this thing to stick to. And she kept, it was radical.
Amir, get him.
It was radical liberal Democrat, and then the guy's name, right? So every time a question, somehow she just keep getting back to those 4 words clumped together like that.
Right,
so Fox News today came out and said they made fun of her. It's like, you think that she was trying to get this point across, and it kept going radical liberal boom, radical liberal boom, radical liberal, and they was laughing. And I was like, yo, that's bad. But when I'm watching it, when I said she screwed up, she slipped up because they were like, yo, do you think Trump won the election? Do you think Biden won or what? And she was trying to dodge it. But then the next thing she said was, it's crucial that we hang on to the Senate because it's the last thing we got. So they were like, wait a minute. If you're saying it's the last thing we got, are you admitting that you don't have the presidency no more? That he lost? And she tried to fix it. So then they come back. Here's where they got it. This is where she fucks up. The white guy says, Trump has been disrespecting the governor of Georgia, the Republican governor. Blah, blah, blah. Do you agree with him, right? So she does radical Democrat shit again and dances, never answers it. So the black girl picks up the question, restructures the shit, basically same question, restructures, spit it out again. She said the same shit, dodges it again, right? So that the moderator don't let it go. And he put it the best way. He said, well, so what, I don't understand what you're saying because Trump disrespects the governor. The governor appointed you to your position.
Right.
What side do you take? Is Trump right or the governor right? And she still 3 times couldn't answer it, danced around. She was done.
Wow.
I saw that. I saw commentary on that. I did. I missed it because I was working, but I saw commentary on it today. And I knew she would not be able to effectively answer that question because of the simple fact that how do you answer a question like that? I literally put it in different terms for my husband today. I said, so say you're a battle rapper, right? Name one battle rapper that is polarizing. So he did. And I said, okay, so say you've been pumping this battle rapper up years. And he came to this one battle. And you got to tell him, bro, you lost. And you tell me he lost and he throws you under the bus. How do you handle that? And my husband said, well, you kind of back off and you give him some space to kind of come to his realization that he actually lost that. I said, okay, you did that. You even polled the judges for the battle rap because he still won't let this go. This is my husband, Lord help me. He says at some point, you just got to throw hands. He said at some point, he either gonna keep your name out his mouth or you got to throw hands. Like, and I'm figuring in my mind, how do you reconcile the fact that you've been going so hard for this dude for 4 years? And now he's literally saying, yo, you've been a buster the whole time I know you. Like, I don't even like you. I don't fuck with you like that. Like, that's literally what he's saying. How do you come back to that?
Yo, this dude has shown his hand to be so filthy so many times. I don't know what to say with him. The reason I got you on here.
But they backed him at every turn. And now, the one time, that's that one time you say no, you ever notice that people, they always cool with you until you start changing on them. And now you've changed. You're wrong. No,
but you know what, Tamika, to your point though, the real problem with, the problem with this particular situation is, to your exact point, they knew that this dude was wrong from day one. Nobody could afford to go against him because they then figured my going against him would then mess up any kind of leverage I would have to do anything I wanted to or needed to do. And unfortunately, to me, that's what's wrong with the political system. Not necessarily the candidates, it's the system as a whole that has that unfortunate, energy.
My dogs are going crazy right now. I'm sorry, y'all. My dogs.
But hold on, your dogs can't be louder than my dogs.
I got one red nose, I got a boxador, and I got a Pekingese. And somebody just rang the bell, and they are losing their mind.
I know how that is.
That red nose swear up and down hard.
I want to get right to the thing. The reason I had you on here is I just wanted to check in with you and make sure, because the work you guys put in Georgia, the last election, you already know, over the top, phenomenal. Is that the same thing that you guys are doing now for the runoffs?
Oh my God. So it's actually more, believe it or not. This is what I said. I was working last night. We have not taken our foot off the gas. So what I do, the organization I work for, Stacey Abrams actually started it. That's number one. So the queen was not playing when it came to this voter suppression, when it came to getting out the vote. In Georgia, it's 800,000 to 1.5 million unregistered people. Over the past 5 years, I think I told you last time, we were responsible for 500,000 of those people getting registered to vote. So the numbers were higher, and over these past few years, we've brought it down. Well, ever since this year, we brought it down even more. And I am a manager, so of course I'm extra in the trenches because not only am I dealing with, the people who are calling and saying, hey, are you going to vote? I'm dealing with the volunteers. I'm dealing with the people that's knocking on your door. That's everything that I deal with. So I see the work that is put in. I see that other side, that ugly side, when they come in and their bones tired. And sometimes they're really discouraged because you'd be surprised at some of the things that they see and hear out there. One manager, she was making calls and she called into our managers meeting in tears because of some of the stuff people were saying to her. But we don't stop, because at the end of the day, the new American medium, that means the white majority will no longer be the majority. I think the last estimate was 2045. We have to make sure everybody, every voice is represented. So we continue to go hard, and we will continue to go hard until every person that is able to legally vote in the state of Georgia is registered. And that's just the bottom line. We're going to keep going. So I'm really proud of the work that we're doing. I'm incredibly proud of it. Why? Because now I think they're starting to understand you can't just take everybody for granted. You know, before you used to say, like, in the beginning of it, I was always so angry. Like, I would see the police shootings, and I'm not even gonna lie, I'm still that angry. Like, the other day there was a Trump rally at the Capitol building, and me being your sister, here I go in Uber, pulling up to the rally. Like, I'm in Uber with my phone out. And I'm ready to go. And I heard one of them say something to the effect of, "Go ahead, come on out here." And I said, "Hold up." And I started, and then listen. I'm still angry. I still want.
I want you to keep that. Times I still want. You got to keep that. And this is what I want you to do.
I do. But now I'm funneling it somewhere else.
Every Monday on this show, I need you to pop in, even if it's for 10 to 15 minutes. You got to be my voting update, my Georgia update, until we got this thing under wrap. Because I know how critical it is. I know a lot of people are not in politics, don't know how critical it is. But can you do that for me? Can you pop in for me?
Absolutely. So, important dates for Georgia. Important dates. Today was literally the last day for voter registration for the runoff. If anybody on this program is watching and you're in Georgia, and you can go to the My Voter page for Georgia, or you can go to New Georgia Project and register to vote online, please do it ASAP. Next important date, early voting starts December 14th. We will be out there. We're giving free rides to the polls. We are giving rides to the polls in every major city in Georgia. I'm not sure. Okay, there we go. I keep losing it. Okay, so we're giving to the polls. The last day for early voting is January 1st. The runoff election is January the 5th. Now, I know the two major ones that everybody's talking about is Warnock, Ossaw, Loeffler, and Purdue. There is one more race. I cannot think of the two people that is running, but there is another one. I think one is Layla. I cannot be sure, though, so don't quote me on that, but I know there's one more race. I want people to go Google these people. Don't just take my word for who the best person is. I know who I'm voting for. Go and Google them, find out what they stand for, and go make your voice heard. It is critically important. Georgia did not turn blue by accident. It didn't. Right. If we are to get the future of Georgia that we want, we have to make our voices heard. December 14th, early votes start. Please, everybody, get out there and make your voice heard.
Thank you very much, Tamika James. I'll see you next Monday, same back channel. Thank you, Baba. I'll see you later.
Indeed. Bye, you guys.
Yes, baby. Appreciate you. That's Tamika James, comedian extraordinaire out of Atlanta, Georgia. And she on it, man. She's part of that thing, Amir. The machine is pushing. I know we ranking down in time, so I got to bring my final guest in. Bring in the one and only CEO, Frank Holder, CEO. What up, sir?
Hey, how you doing?
What's going on, brother?
How you doing, man? How's everything, bro? How's everything?
Everything's
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Motivation Mondays. The one and only founder, CEO of Humor Mill Magazine, TV. Now we got the app. I don't know how many shows you got on your app, man. How many shows so far?
5. I got 5. I got 5.
Man, you the Muscle Simmons of this.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. I gotta use that. I don't know how you had me follow her, man. That was like, whoa! I almost hung up. I was like, this is great.
Nah, Frank. You know what's crazy is I had on the show back when we did the general election, and I didn't know. I know just as a comic, you know, I call her my little sis in Atlanta, but I didn't know she had signed on to these big organizations, and they was doing everything out there. So when I seen it play out on television with the ballot, the mail-in ballots, and they vanning and shuttling people to vote. I mean, people that can't get around, you can barely get to the doctor. You know what I mean? The work they put in to make that vote turn out. I had to get on and say, yo, tell me y'all doing the same thing for this, because this is just as crucial. And sure enough, she is. So that's gonna be my check-in person every Monday. bring us to George. Just tell us what's going on. So, but it's all about you right now, Mr. Frank Holder. First of all, Amir is one of our big type-ins and followers of the box seats. Me, you, and Fig, Rodney Perry, and Stacks with the Facts. I missed today, obviously, transit back. But tell me, what made you take it to the next level? Because the reason I wanted you on here is I find that fitting this show to 100% T, because we talking about motivation. You could easily sat back and did one thing, or maybe kept the blog going for the magazine or whatever. You took it to the next level.
Yeah, sometimes you get to the point where as you think you reach your ceiling, and you know, when you get to the ceiling, what people don't realize, when you get to the ceiling, you look up and there's the sky. You know what I mean? So that's the best way I can compare it to. Because when I got to the top of what I thought was in that market, I was like, okay, now how do I take it now to the next level? And Talent, you know, I've been working on this thing to get this on TV for about 2 years, and 9 months ago, I was able to, you know, get it on, you know, Humor Mill to 4 or 5 million households. I did something that I looked up BET research on BET. I saw how Bob did it, and I tried to copy everything he did. He went from one TV station, he kept calling, and he kept adding and adding. And I did the exact same thing. So
well, I know that you're on to something, and that's why when you call me, I ain't hesitating. I'm like, oh, it sounds great. You know, let's make it happen. Now, is it hard to, so we got the TV part, we got the magazine part and everything. Is it hard with the app part?
Well, what I did was I connected the app to the TV. It wouldn't have been hard to try to keep update both, but what I did was I connected one to another. So whatever broadcasts on the TV is broadcasting directly on the app. I also cut a couple of corners, because whenever I post on my website, it posts directly to the app too. So you know what I mean? Instead of doing double the work, you know, it's always about working smarter, not harder. You know what I mean? It's always about that.
Absolutely. And how do you come about you know, because all these things, you know how people are looking for content and content providers. So you're the content provider, but then you have to plug it with personnel. So what's that process like?
Well, to be completely honest with you, it's ongoing. It's every day. As you know, you got to always, because I'm doing an urban comedy channel, you got to always ask comics. I don't have the money where I want to just yet, but you got to always ask comics, hey, if you're making content, instead of putting it on social media, do you want to put it on here? I have it's one straight platform. The problem I'm having is the comics don't understand my channel is. They think a lot of time I'm talking about a YouTube channel. They think I'm talking about they don't realize I'm talking about a broadcast linear channel. I'm talking about, as you know, last week I'm closing a deal with Dish. So I'm going to literally be in the same block. If you notice, when you go to TV, you know, they have BET right here. They're going to have BET Hurt. They're going to have, you know, Revolt. They're gonna have, you know, and then they're gonna have to see Humor Mill. You know what I mean? That's where I'm, you know, striving. And I just closed, so that's where I'm gonna be at. So I think the problem is I'm trying to get them to understand. I'm not talking about YouTube. I'm not talking about Netflix. I'm talking about a broadcast linear channel. So that's been my hard part, trying to get them to understand that and say. And then once I get to that point, then it's not just gonna get easier, but the sledding shouldn't be as difficult. You know what I mean? That's just
okay. No, I understand that. So let's back up a little bit. Let's go to how does somebody who, like yourself, say, I want to deal with humor, period. I want to deal with the comedy game, the comedy aspect, and that's what I want to take and catapult to these different branches and levels. Like, how did that start?
You mean Humor Mill overall or for TV?
Yeah, overall.
Man, overall, I was trying to do Humor Mill. It actually fell in my lap because I was trying to do a comedy awards years and years and years ago. I was going around, I'm gonna do a comedy awards. I talked to a couple of friends and everything. I was like, okay, cool. That sounds like a great idea. So I started with that. Then I met with BET, and I'm not gonna say no more names other than that, but I met with some executives at BET, and one executive in particular, and she wasn't even an executive at BET. She was a producer. I found out later. She was a producer did shows on BET. You know, I met with her. I gave him a whole plan. I gave everything laid out to her. I want to do this. I got Steve Harvey. I got the venue. I got everything. I got the sponsors. I made the proposal. Everything. So I'm sitting down. You know, I ain't heard from her. I emailed her. A couple of weeks go by. I ain't hear from her. I'm like, what is going on? Next thing you know, I see a commercial for the BET Comedy Awards on BET, hosted by Steve Harvey, my same host, at the venue. Same thing, same date. Same sponsors, everything. I said, ain't this, can we swear?
Yeah, you can. I never knew that.
Yeah, I said, ain't this a bitch? So I was mad. So I'm sitting down and I'm upset and I'm real angry. And then my family's calling me. They're like, Frank, congratulations on your comedy awards. That's dope. That's dope. Wow. So then what I did was, after getting like 7 or 8 phone calls, I put out an email. I said, listen, it's not me, not me doing this. And I put out emails like 100 something comics. It's not me. It's not my comment. BET took it and they went off, So then Shang emailed me, and then maybe 2 or 3 other comics, but Shang in particular, because Shang said, yo, Frank, since you sent out that email, can you put my news, that I'm doing such on this? And I put it out to, 2 or 3 comics via email. Then 2 other comics asked me, can you do the same thing? And my wife said to me, she said, you should name that as something, because what's happening is people are going to keep asking you to put out their news. And this is before MySpace. So I said, I said, you know what? Instead of talking about the rumor mill, let me just call it the humor mill. And that was just an email. Next thing you know, Shang put all his people on it, and man, 100,000 people in. I was like, wow, I'm on to something. And that's how the humor mill was born. So from that, I created an email, then I created a website, then I created everything else that I created. You know what I mean? It just spawned from that. So it really
that's a great story, bro.
And it's the truth. That's exactly what happened.
And that's a great, as you're telling it, like, as a comic, you have to visualize things like into before it happens. Like, you have to see it play out. Mm-hmm. And I can see that being like an episodic, like a TV movie or whatever, because it's that's drama, man. And that happens. I want to say, welcome to the comedy world. Now you know what it feels like for somebody to steal your fucking jokes. But the story is amazing because we lived it. Like, when people point out certain things and people are like, oh yeah, I remember that. Without even knowing you, a person don't have to know you to know that happened. And like, oh shit, they took it from this person. You know how many people have that done to them?
Bro, I worked on that for 2.5 years trying to get to that. I flew back and forth to LA, flew back and forth because I was in Boston at the time, flew back and forth to New York, everything else working on. I worked overnight at hotels to try and scrape together the money just to be able to show, because I knew I wanted Steve Harvey, being able to show Steve Harvey. I've been working on it. I've been trying to do this. And I met with Steve Harvey and his boy. I was like, I really want to do this. They said yes. I had nothing to do, but then I picked up everything from Steve Harvey and his people who signed on, and they didn't even know me. So I had moved really, really quickly, move forward with this from determination for working on it for 2.5 years. So if somebody steal that from you, bro, talent, I'll never forget that, bro. I'll never forget that.
Wow,
overnight hotel for 3 years, 2.5, 3 years, trying to do that, doing that in the night and then doing things in the daytime, bro, I put work into it. So literally, my family was calling me. They could hit. I was crying, bro. To be completely honest, I was crying. I was in tears. I was real upset. Bro, I had put in work. So
no, I get that. I totally get it. Speaking of family, me and Amir was just talking a few minutes ago before we brought in Tamika. If you had to pick 3 family members that you can actually attribute motivating you, to this, whether it's this project, whether it's anything positive, life being, successful or something, progressing, who would those 3 family members be?
My wife, and my wife, to be honest.
And I work with you every day, so I believe you, because anytime I do a wife joke, Frank does that shit. Frank, I'm not with this. Well, ain't nothing wrong with that, because you see how my baby mother is supporting what we do,
right?
And she done made us boxy mugs and cups, everything, because she sees it. She's a big fan of it, and I appreciate that. Because the reason I asked that question, and I told her, Amir said something that sprung board the question, is because, and I say this in every interview that I give, I say that I was late in kind of really recognizing the support that I got from my family overall. And part of that was because you have to read between the lines, especially in Black households. Mm-hmm. When I decided to leave a great job where I was doing for 5-6 years straight with nothing but room to go up and everything, full benefits, great pay, everything, and just a baby on the way, and to say, you know what, I'm quitting everything and I'm going to jump into this pond. They had all the room and levity to shoot me down or go against the grain or doubt it or, give me 100 reasons. Like I said, baby on the way, that Negro, you can't do this shit right now,
Yeah.
But they didn't. So when I look back, it took a while, over a decade, for me to look back and go, you know what? That's some huge ass family support.
Right.
Like whether you know it or not, nobody said, "Oh, you're gonna be great," but that wasn't the point. The point was nobody said, "Are you fucking crazy?"
Yeah, but you were on TV. Once you got on TV, I'm sure they saw the vision immediately too.
No, but this was before TV.
Oh,
I quit my job 9-10 months in, and you know why? And here, I'll be honest with you, Frank. When I quit, it wasn't about seeing that big vision of what I was going to be or I was going to be successful. It really came down to having to pick, because literally, physically, I couldn't do both anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And now imagine, I'm dumb young. I'm 22, 23. So if you're tired at 20, you can imagine that the physical toll is taken on you.
Oh, I can imagine. But when you saw
Yeah.
yourself on Jeff Comedy Jam, you knew you had arrived. You know what I mean? Like,
well, Apollo, for me, it was the Apollo.
Ah, there you go. That too.
That was my first TV taping.
I haven't forgotten your appearance on Def Comedy, and I forgot a lot of comics' appearance on Def Comedy, but I haven't forgotten yours. You know what I mean? Like it was unforgettable. So I could imagine being in the Apollo and Def Comedy Jam, like the feeling that you have to arrive with me. My family, hell, to this day, a lot of my time, my mom would tell me, "Why don't you get a job?" You know,
that's what I'm saying.
Why don't you get a job? You know, it ain't working. But if you was to go to my parents and say, "You know what? What does your son do?" They couldn't tell you right now. They couldn't tell you. They would like,
"That's hilarious.
Something to do with some rumor mill, something." That's all. They don't know. I'm about to be in 15 million households. They don't know when they click on that TV. They're gonna be like, "Hey, Frank, with that," you know. They ain't got no clue. You know what I mean? They got no clue.
Well, listen, that's wonderful, ladies and gentlemen. This is Frank Holder. Do me a favor, shout out everything the people need to know, how to hit the cable providers, the app, everything, and all 5 shows, man. Shout it out, baby.
Oh man, all 5? Okay. We got Lamont show. We got of course, the box seats is my favorite show because I'm on it. We got the box seat show. We got Rita Jones show. Of course, we've got Queen show. And most importantly, we're getting ready to do a morning show. And that show is going to be coming out of Atlanta, literally probably Monday morning. Been working on that for about a good 3 months. The show, all that stuff is on the platform called The Humor Mill. You can download the app. It's on iOS and Android. And also, we're on any cable service provider except Comcast, Charter, DirecTV, and that, but now we're on Dish. So on everything, you know, our platform is everywhere. So we're real easy to find. You just have to look for us. Hopefully we'll be on Comcast. So Comcast, 167 million households. Then you ain't got to look. Then we just everywhere. That's my name.
Well, I'm sure it's going to happen for you, my brother. And hey, man, my wife.
I think I my wife 3 times.
Frank, I appreciate you, King.
Thank you, I'll see you tomorrow on the show. No problem. Thank you, bro. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Thanks, bro.
Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, Frank Holder, CEO, founder of the Humor Mill. Yo, that's hilarious. 3 people. My wife. I'm not going to tell you my 3. We'll get back to that next week because I know my co-host was having technical difficulties all day. Amir Silly will be back. We'll get that fixed out. He's not going to escape without giving me his 3 people either. It's been your boy Talent. I hope that between my 3 guests, you found something to motivate you. Shout out to Lowe's Moore, all-star from the NBA, and now definitely full-time mentor and podcast producer. Shout out to Tamika James in Georgia. She's going to be back every week all the way up until this runoff election in Georgia, giving us a Georgia update because this is the most critical election, right behind this Trump. They're probably about the same, net worth or gross worth, whatever it is. You know what I mean? Importance. That's what you need to know. And the man you just seen, Frank Holder, CEO, Humor Mill. Call your cable provider, request it, download the app. Don't miss these shows, especially the box seats, because I'm on there. All right. And shout out to my co-host. We'll have him back on deck and we'll fix that Wi-Fi and get him off of Cricket and get everything together. It's been your boy Talent and Amir Silly. It's been a motivational Monday. Salute.